Hello and welcome to my Bioshock 2 Winter Blast guide. So Winter Blast is very similar to how it is in the first game. Tier 1 will cause frozen enemies to not drop loot. However, Tier 2 will cause them to drop containers. And Tier 3 will automatically cause them to become encased in ice. So there's two states you need to be aware of. In Tier 1, it will not completely... It will freeze enemies, but it won't encase them in ice, which is a different state. Tier 2, you can charge it to encase enemies in ice. And then Tier 3, your right-click or Alt-Fire will automatically encase foes in ice. You can kind of see these encased in ice, frozen. There's like a difference here. So here, check it out. Now he's encased in ice. So you can charge this to freeze enemies, and if you freeze them long enough, it just kills them. So you can kind of see here, it's like breaking. He's like thawing. There we go. All right, so now he's dead. So you can just completely kill enemies with ice, as you can see here. This is really good with Drill Specialist. Some weapons that are great with this are the shotgun. Let me focus here. Kind of see it does decent kinetic damage, so it actually blows them up pretty easily. The drill is pretty good with this. The spear gun. So I'm actually get a freeze here. Find it. Okay, there it is. So I'm going to use this spear gun on a dude. So what is this weapon, or what is this tonic like good with? Or this plasmid. What is it good with? When should you use it? It's a good like crowd control plasmid. I prefer Electrobolt because you can get easy headshots. I prefer headshotting things. This is better against big daddies and big sisters because of the fact. Looks like it's to go underwater. I can just talk about it while I'm underwater. This will freeze big sisters and big daddies, which is a pretty effective way at dealing damage to them or just killing them with the freeze. Killing big sisters with the freeze is kind of difficult because they have a lot of health, so they can be kind of hard to kill, especially on hard mode. You generally want to use this against tougher enemies, otherwise it's kind of just like a waste. Like, most enemies die in, like, a single headshot from the spear gun, and a lot of weapons, even in hard mode, can one-shot or two-shot enemies. So it's not the best plasmid. It is good with, like, Drill Specialist, and there's some circumstances where it is good. But in general, I would say it's not the best, but it's not bad. Like, it's strong. I would say Electrobolt's better, because in this game there aren't enemies that are immune to Electrobolts, like there are in the first game. And even then, those enemies are just thuggish splicers near the end game, and that's it. That, and you have to upgrade it before you can get loot, which sucks. I'm not a fan of that. So let's actually just use it a few more times. You generally need to, like, shoot enemies, and you can't really headshot them when they're frozen. Here, let's see. I used console command just so I can buy all the plasmids, if you're wondering why I have 9,000. Whatever. Because I already beat the game, so I didn't feel like re-beating the game just to get plasmids. I already pretty much know like roughly how good they are. But alright, let's wait for this dude to stop talking, and then he'll drop some enemies on me, and we'll freeze them. So note that the tier 3 does get you like the instant encased in ice ability. Like, so like when you're tier 2, you have to charge Winter Blast to encase a foe in ice, and what that does is it lets you loot them, and it holds them for a long duration. It also holds large enemies for a long duration. So that's just something to keep in mind. Once you get tier 3, I'd say it's much better. It does use quite a lot of Eve, but it's not too much, especially if you're running Drill Specialist. This can be a very powerful tool just to like freeze enemies for long periods of time and then beat them to death with the drill. Some good weapons to use with this are the drill, the spear gun, the shotgun, the grenade launcher, anything that seems like it inflicts a lot of force is generally good. You can also pick up frozen enemies with telekinesis 2 and higher and throw them and use them as a weapon, which is nice, and you should be able to shatter them as well. So it's just generally like a decent plasmid. I prefer Incinerate just because in this game it crowd controls and does damage and can spread to foes, so it's quite strong. But I mean, if you want to mess around with the physics, this game is easy enough that even on hard mode you can pretty much use whatever you want and it's viable. So I can't really say that any of these plasmids are bad. The first game, Winter Blast, was okay. It wasn't really that good. It had some uses, but I wouldn't say it was really like one of the best plasmids. Alright, so let's find some enemies to freeze. Let me in.
I fear the fate of Eleanor Lamb will be less physical, but no.
Or is this like a...
This tank for deep sea life is the ideal way to dispose of me. But first, you must retrieve enough adamant-fused plant life to lure me out. The slugs feed on the stuff.
Pretty sure I have to go this way now.
I have left a sample here, so you know what to look for.
Alright. There's not too many sequences where you're fighting things unless you're like doing little sister sessions, so. Alright, so as soon as this dude's ready to let me carry on. Or is there? Okay, here we go. Let's freeze these Alpha series. Alright, Frozen 1, Froze 2. You can see that headshots do nothing. It does, the spear gun inflicts decent force. Also note the tier 3, if you charge it, I'll have to have Eve. If you charge tier 3, it will do damage and continuously freeze. You can like shoot in melee. Actually, this is better with the shotgun. If I could hit him. I don't know why that was missing. That's weird. Alright. But you can melee things. It does decent kinetic damage. Obviously, the drill is the best for that. This is really good with Drill Specialist. And to wrap up, I would say it's like a decent ability. It's not the best. It's not bad though. It has like it has its uses. So let's just freeze this dude. Oh, they're gonna get enraged first. Freeze them. So this is kind of like the use case. It's really good with Drill Specialist because it reduces the cost, and then you can just keep spamming freeze. So it actually is pretty strong with that build. Whoops. You can kind of see how much like frost damage that the drill applies, so it's pretty good. So yeah, that's my Winter Blast video for Bioshock 2. I'm going to be finishing up the plasmids, then I'll do a tier list. This one I actually would rate quite high because it is really good in a Drill Specialist build. With Drill Specialist, you would basically be constantly freezing enemies and just bashing them to death with your drill, which is actually pretty strong. So this would actually be really good with that passive. So yeah, thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you in the next one.